Most people, especially law enforcement, when they come into settings, we talk too loud, say too much, stand too close, talk too fast, and we touch too soon. You know, if you just take the topic for what it says literally, how to escape from grips and grabs. Most people put a perception in their mind that we're going to go into a gym, we're going to stand on a mat, we're going to say, okay, when the person grabs you, here are some of your options. And you know, in the 70s and 80s, that's the way training was done. It was very compartmentalized. When you did defensive tactics, you put on boxing gear. In the 90s, now you have different martial arts. Now you're in the 21st century, and people are just now identifying organizations across the country that before you teach an officer to touch, you got to teach them how to talk. So what we did was in that first 45-minute block is we taught them how to manage distance and control positioning, how to stand, hand placement. Hand placement as a police officer sends a huge message to a person you're talking to. Take the simple contact of someone sitting in a restaurant and they paid their tab, but they have to leave. Very non-threatening, they're not yelling or screaming. And you walk up and you say, hello, my name is Dave Young with the so-and-so police department. The reason why I'm here is I saw that you were, not leaving. You put your hand on your gun, even though you're very calm. That is a nonverbal indicator that's gonna make that go into escalation very quickly. So sometimes we send the wrong message, meaning to send and say this. We're so focused on the words, we're not looking at the message that we're giving them. And this is a very important concept because we always talk about when a person's in crisis, and let me just put it to you this way. When a police officer talks to anybody, they go to a certain level of crisis that they don't feel when they talk to a friend, and a little bit less crisis when they talk to someone they don't know. But when a police officer comes, they're enforcing some law that they forgot or some rule they need to really fix. So I like to do this exercise with everybody that's watching. I like to show you. So what I like to do is take your index finger and go like this. And I want you to take your index finger and place it right here on your chin. And if you're doing this with us, you put it on your cheek, not your chin, which is where I said. So we are more visually educated in times of crisis and stress than auditorily stimulated. So the other example we gave is if a person's yelling at you. Well, quite frankly, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and sometimes the 90s, they had the ask, tell, make policy. So if you yelled at me, and as a police officer, I wasn't going to take that, I yelled back. And we seem to think that the louder we talk, the more authority we were going to be enforcing. And we try to change our strategy at Viscelar to give them an understanding that you create a supportive atmosphere or defensive atmosphere. And your words should create a supportive atmosphere because we want to drive on every contact to get cooperation first. You get cooperation, it's less report writing. You get cooperation, it's less use of force issues. But more importantly, when you get cooperation at every contact, you deposit a safety contact that the next time you're in trouble and this person looks over their shoulder and sees that it's you, you got to go back and ask yourself, on that last contact you had, did you inspire them to call for help? Did you inspire them to maybe sacrifice their own safety? As you've seen across the country where people come and render aid and help the officer? Or did you inspire them to turn a blind eye and pull the video out and just record your demise? So every contact we make, that social interaction, is something we need to take a little bit more serious. So when we started out the class, we talked about proxemics. How do you manage distance, positioning? You know, one of our trainers, Joe Lashley, always says, most people, especially law enforcement, when they come into settings, we talk too loud, say too much, stand too close, talk too fast, and we touch too soon. And sometimes that can really set the things off. So for this class, it was about how to get out of grips and grabs, but we started out in the forefront is how to have non-escalation strategies so it doesn't go that way. And if we can manage distance and positioning, and hand placement is all part of that. If you look at hand placement, how many times have you talked to someone that you met on a casual contact and you see one person fold their arms? Now, in a conference setting, it's pretty casual. But if someone's telling you something of vital importance, you're not looking professional. You're not demonstrating concern to them, and you're not really doing anything to keep them safe or you safe. So if they punch you, the only block you have like this is closing your eyes. And I've been studying martial arts for 40 years. That's not a block. But what about officers that take their hands and cover their vests when they talk? Are they looking professional, demonstrating concern, keeping everyone safe? Not at all. So we encourage you to teach you how to put your hands in a one-hand stop sign, in a two-hand stop sign. how not to yell, and purposely teach you to lower your voice. When someone's saying, "Get out of my face, I can't believe this," there's a time and a place for issuing commands loud and clear. But when someone's yelling at us, you might want to try to get that cooperation. "I really see you're upset. If you just give me a moment, I really want to help you." I can't tell you how many times, actual applications during Bike Week in Myrtle Beach, that I have a person almost literally tip over a 6-foot pool table, yelling and screaming. They're going to beat everybody up. And I come and say, "Hey, I really see you're upset. Man, you're mad. I can't believe you got arms that big. They match my thighs." I mean, look at it. And I talk low to them. "What are you whispering about?" He's not cussing and screaming. Because in order to have communication, you have to have a sender and a receiver. And we want it to be a dialogue, not an interrogation. So at that initial contact, we had someone that they were talking to was using the universal greeting, 1-hand stop sign, 2-hand stop sign, the thinker stance. When someone's talking long and hard, instead of putting your hands on your hips or touching your gear because you're nervous, putting your hands in this position so we can keep them up to protect. And this is the biggest thing. Look at yourself on video or look at yourself on a picture and ask yourself these 3 questions. Am I looking professional? If you are, great. Am I demonstrating concern? Because think about this. As this escalates in a physical contact, are you going to be really, really trying to hurt me if I'm demonstrating concern, trying to be fair? I'd much rather a person resist arrest because they're trying not to go to jail and trying to make that arrest become an assault where they want to hurt and harm me. Because then that escalates the contact.
Thanks for watching this clip of the Tactical Breakdown Podcast. To get access to more interviews just like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button and that little notification bell. Or, even better, come join us on the ILEETA Network, ILEET.network, where you will get access to world-leading instructors, trainers, hundreds of hours of training content designed to change the standard of law enforcement training. We'll see you there.